Today we're going to talk about how to administer the informal reading inventory to a student. First and foremost, I think it's important to understand what the reading inventory is, the informal reading inventory. It's individually administered and consists of oral and silent reading passages. It also consists of word lists or word recognition inventory. The purpose of the informal reading inventory is to determine the child's reading level, whether it be independent, instructional, frustrational, or functional. First thing you need to do before you start the informal reading inventory is get acquainted with the child or the student and make them feel comfortable. Explain what's going to happen and how the assessment's going to work. Then you determine where you're going to start your word recognition inventory. It should always be started 2 grade levels lower than the child's current grade level. So the child that I assessed was in 3rd grade, so we began his word recognition inventory in the 1st grade level. There's 2 different ways to administer this portion of the inventory. You can have the child read right off the list as you see it here, but you should always have just one word exposed at a time. Or you can use a flashcard. Expose the word to the child, give them a substantial amount of time to determine what the word is. As you go along in the word recognition inventory, you need to mark or correct the words as the child says them. If the word is correct, you use a check mark. So you'd put a check mark here. If they say the word incorrectly and self-correct, then it's a check plus. If they say the word wrong, you give them a 0. You continue on with the word recognition inventory until the child misses 4 or more words. At that time, the child I assessed, when we got to level 3-2, which is 3rd grade halfway through, had missed more than 4 words. This is now where I begin my oral reading passages. So you get to your oral reading and you find level 3, 3-1, 3-2, here somewhere. This is a sample of the oral reading. There's instructions there. You should read the child the instructions and let them know that when they are done reading, there's going to be questions. Now again, you won't let them see the questions as they read the oral passage. It is important for the teacher or whoever is giving the assessment to mark the child as they are reading orally. You should pay attention to any omissions, so if the child omits a word, if they insert a word that's not there, if they substitute a word, if they repeat the word, if they hesitate, if they mispronounce a word, or they reverse a word. All those things need to be notated in the oral reading passage. Once that is complete, you have comprehension questions. You read them exactly as they are written, and it even gives you the answers so you know if the child's correct or not, and then each question is worth so many points. The same thing then happens with the silent reading. You read the instructions to them again. They read the passage to themselves. As they're doing this, the teacher should pay attention to if the child is moving their mouth, if they're using their finger, generally just how they are reading this. Then again, you tell them there's comprehension questions and you ask them the questions. You continue on with this until you get to a frustration level. You don't want to continue on past the frustration level because obviously the child is struggling at that point and you don't want the child to get extremely frustrated. So that's where you would stop. When you complete your word recognition inventory and your oral and silent reading passages, you have a summary sheet. The summary sheet is very important. That's where you score the child's word recognition inventory. Tells you what grade they stopped at. You also score their comprehension. You can also get this from this assessment, their listening capacity. There's a whole summary. You can get into the structure of the words as well. It's also important that when you write up the results of the informal reading inventory that you note the child's strengths and weaknesses, comment on their behavior during the test, and then you make recommendations on how to address any of the issues that you determined the child had when you did the inventory. Once you've finished the informal reading inventory and you finish the summary sheet, you then have an idea where these child's weaknesses are, what grade level they are reading at compared to what grade level they're in. From this information you obtain from this word recognition inventory, you can then go ahead and develop an intervention plan for the child to assist them in at least getting to reading at grade level. You can determine what type of services they may need, what type of additional help they may need to get them reading at grade level. And that, in a nutshell, is how you administer an individual reading inventory. One note I will say is that it's very difficult the first time. I've only done it twice myself, and it is very difficult. It's important that you understand how to market, and I think as you do more, you'll get better at them, and it's easier for you to make the notations on the actual reading, or on the actual assessment. So that's how you administer an informal reading inventory.